Hey everybody, welcome to episode 47 of Tactical Crouch. That's right, 47. You're like, wait, last week was 45. It's because we had 2 episodes last week. You're welcome. I'm KickedTripod, of course, joined by the German curmudgeon Yiska and Overwatch Oracle himself, Volamel. Didn't have quite as hot of a week this week, though, calling the upsets, but still... not that bad, but we are joined for the second time. You are the third guest to be here twice. You would have been the first to be here 3 times, Curry. I need to say that. You would have been the first to be here 3 times, but now you're the third to be here 2 times. Welcome back to the show. He's the strategic coach for the Guangzhou Charge. Good friend. Almost did a pod. We were almost podcast buds, and then he got famous. And now, just kidding. That didn't happen at all. But it's CurryShot. Welcome back to the show, man. Good to see you. You're looking great.
Thank you.
Adidas is on fire, by the way. I wish we could get an Adidas sponsorship for this show because they've got really good-looking shirts. And I actually, they're one of 3 companies I actually subscribe to emails from.
Okay, now that we're talking about looks, I guess I can ask. Where's the beard? What happened?
Mine?
Yeah.
I don't know. I decided to go with a new look. Anyway, you know my beard grows out every 2 days. I'm so serious.
It's crazy. The same is true for Asha, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So,
this is 29 years and counting, by the way.
Actually, no lie, I shaved last night, and if I get really close, you can see it's already back.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's your secret? Because help me, I want a beard.
So first thing you gotta do is become Indian. Done. Indian genetics. Big secret.
I don't think that
I don't think that's possible.
I don't think
John.
I can.
I don't know that's.
Yeah, nothing.
So what you're telling me is I'm.
Yes.
All right. Thanks a lot. Well, I feel great. Let's talk about Overwatch, I guess. Before we do, a couple of housekeeping things. Of course, we record live every Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific. 11 a.m. Pacific, but we'll start by 11:30. You know. Sorry. It happens.
What can you do?
I mean, there's a lot we could probably do, but we don't. 11-ish.
We're here.
Pacific time.
We're here every week.
It's true.
We start variable times.
We start the call before 11 a.m.
It's true.
I will say that. We're pretty consistent about doing that. So tune in live, twitch.tv/KickedTripod. Of course, tweet us your suggestions, or not even suggestions. I don't need your suggestions, but I would love your questions that you have for the show or topics you'd like to hear us discuss. Yiska.
Beard or no beard? What do you think?
What?
Beard or no beard?
You should. Beard. I think beard.
For sure.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I fucked up. I messed up then.
Okay.
Yiska, how many subs to get you to...
recording on Friday.
Reschedule.
How many subs or how many patrons would we need for you to
Impossible. Virtually, you could not give me enough money.
Give me a number.
2 million euros.
Wow. You selfish bitch.
It's impossible. Dude, I have not put this thing off, I think, in 6 years probably. And the one time I did, I started growing it out, I think in 9 years ago or 8 years ago. The weeks where I just shut myself in my, I think I was still studying even. Yeah. So I couldn't go out. No, impossible.
I did that when I took a baseball to the face and had a big fat lip.
Oof.
Just I'm skipping classes. I'm not going anywhere. This is not going to happen. All right, this is enough. We've gone on too far. Patreon.com/tacticalcrouch. Support the show. We really do appreciate your support. If you don't want to do it through Patreon, you can sub through Twitch or donate through Twitch. Really appreciate that. All the support is super meaningful. We've got some upgrades planned this fall, and all of that stuff helps us be able to afford it. So we're going to do that. Let's talk about the news, though. Brought to you by our Patreon producers, Battlecrab Made and Peter Y. thank you three again for supporting the show for such an incredible amount. We really appreciate it. Thanks for bringing us the news this week. News number one, the Washington Justice, who are, doing all right now. They're hanging in there. They are doing okay. Yeah, they're only 5-0 plus 10 map differential. Let go or mutually parted ways or have retired, or I don't know what the actual league wording is going to be there, but Fazix no longer a part of the squad.
Thrown out, disintegrated.
At least he
Left
hasn't
at the
been.
gas station.
At least he didn't get pulled into a Mendo situation where he's like an Outlaws streamer. Has to play Overwatch for a year longer than he didn't want to.
Yeah.
I think he's still into Overwatch, though, if I'm not mistaken.
He's
I'm
come.
sure he'll find
Mendo's
his
come back,
Bundesliga.
right? So he did the Apex thing.
Yeah. I meant Fazix. Like he's really into it,
Fazix.
so, yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? Mendo's playing Apex.
No, I meant Mendo's Gonzo. He's in Apex.
Yeah.
Mendo's Dunzo.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't really seen much of Fazix at all this year, Volamel.
No, he's been kind of. I think they kind of put him on the inactive roster, if I remember correctly, and just been pretty quiet. Again, I think he'll probably land on his feet on a contenders team somewhere. Best of luck to him. Hopefully, find some success
I
elsewhere.
think he made a post about not wanting to compete, but I'm not exactly sure
Oh, okay.
about like streaming for now or something like that.
I know he said that, but I also know that he said last night, and it's funny because Buck just said this, that he wants to stream every day until he gets an Overwatch League trial.
Okay.
So, I mean, like
He's
either-
immortal now
I don't know.
by that rule. He like until he gets an Overwatch League try, so he cannot die because it's never going to happen. That's how it works, right?
So I'm going to ask the hard-hitting question here then, Yiska. Do you think that Fazix is not Overwatch League level?
I think he was good in 2017, whenever that was with Envision, when they were third or fourth in Contenders.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Contender Season 1 even. There, I had him on my radar. I don't know, like, the problem is, realistically, the environment that he was in. So it's actually probably unfair to talk about him like that until I've seen him in a different environment. But yeah, he wasn't convincing, I think. He wasn't the problem on DC when they were, because he was playing most of stage 1. I think he went inactive beginning of April. Yeah, beginning of April. And then I think Arc was brought in mid-March, 18th of March or something. And
all part of the Wizard Young plan, by the way. We're ready.
Oh my god. I mean, yeah. Not many people.
Part of the plan or just a coincidence?
Not too many players would probably start over Arc, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. It's worth noting, right? But obviously isn't having a huge impact. Is there a place like, I don't know if you could say this or not, Curry, but if you were any team in Overwatch League, Fazix is now free agent for whatever reason. I don't know how that all works because we're past like the deadlines and signings. Like, is there a team where you would personally think that you could see Fazix coming back into as it stands right now?
I mean, the thing is, like, I've never seen him in like a professional environment, so I wouldn't know. But that being said, I think a lot of players actually in their, like what Yiska said, in the right environment, no matter on actually their skill level in terms of at least if they're at a certain skill level, past that they don't need to be like super insane, can be like developed into someone who can succeed. So potentially, but it would have to be under the right environment.
Somebody actually mentions this in chat, but we'll probably expand on this for another week or maybe in the postseason. But again, I think there are going to be a lot of teams in the rebuilding phase, particularly probably Mayhem and Outlaws. So there's definitely hope for Fazix. Just needs to get out there, work on things that maybe he got criticized on Washington and his past teams, and there's always a chance that these teams that have not found a ton of success going into 2020, contracts are coming up. There's going to be some slots to fill, and if you're out there grinding, then there's a good chance that you probably get picked up.
Yeah, I mean, for Mayhem though, they were pretty clear about being full Korean for the future. Yeah,
for sure.
So.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm not. They were interested in that for this season. Didn't necessarily pan out. It seems to be catching a little bit of steam now. Do they continue with that vision in 2020? I don't know. With this team, they could just completely gut the front office and change their identity again.
I highly suspect they will do it for 2020.
Fair enough.
But yeah.
All right. You highly suspect that Mayhem will stay full Korean in 2020?
Yes, I highly suspect it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can feel your wink protecting glasses right now, like trying their best not to like.
I have the sun, that's why the windows are open, so you can see the glare, you can't see my eyes.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so not Mayhem, but Outlaws. There are definitely teams that want to need some upgrades and might need some experience. I agree with that. I do think that from my understanding of Fazix, any issues he ever had were not ones with like being a team player and the kind of off even in-game stuff is more like purely like mechanical positioning hero type stuff. Like, I don't know, the why you get into Overwatch League in the first place kind of thing. So I don't know. Seems like a nice enough dude. It seems like maybe he's got a casting career. I don't know.
Never heard him cast.
Might pull a Jake on us. Who knows? Avast, one of those guys, just figure it out. And
if that was a transition point, then that's a hats off to you, my friend.
Fair enough. Let's talk about Bishop, shall we? Yiska,
Yeah,
what's going on with Bishop, man? So tell us what happened this week.
Yeah, well, he was let go. The wording of the announcement was kind of interesting, that it caused some community or some of the community to speculate. That goes without saying. The thing is that one now has to honestly question at least. Okay, so let's recapitulate the career of Bishop, right? C9 wasn't the most successful team.
I immediately went to somebody just leaving the point. Sorry. C9 is a team. Cloud9. Got it.
Yeah.
Are we just going to omit the fact that he was a former pro player?
I mean, that is not as relevant, right?
Okay,
like
fair enough.
My point is that one now has to question how good of a coach he is, while beforehand he had a lot of talent on C9. I'm not sure if I'm actually completely arguing against myself, because I remember defending Bishop when the pickup was made for Toronto, and the point was that we didn't have enough data points because he had a week in a stage in Overwatch League. They won that stage. Then the personal thing happened with his family, and now after the fact, he came back into the Overwatch League, and honestly, the way Define crumbled seemed like a coaching thing in many ways, right? So the captain is the guy who steers the ship. Question, of course, being how much input does he get from the gods above, right? How the winds flow, and that's a question that certainly has to be asked. But yeah, in resume, it wasn't the season that Toronto wanted. I think they're pretty much locked in for third worst team in the league. Rough, yeah. actually problematic to now. I mean, no coach after one broken season is really, sour grapes, I would say. It once again depends on the environment on the players. You have this in traditional sports all the time, where a coach has a terrible failure, gets signed by another team, and suddenly gets them out of the cellar of the league or whatnot, right? So, but yeah, data points certainly over an entire season didn't look good.
I mean, Curry,
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is there's so much to dissect here, right? You have Bishop's season overall with Toronto. You have the wording of the press release itself. Like, what's your overall feelings on this one?
So my overall feeling is also something. Obviously, I don't have any insider like news or anything like this, but this is just my assumption, my deduction, I guess, is that a few weeks ago they started playing a lot more Western players, being with Manga, Sherrick, Gods, right? And honestly, they've been, even though they've not had the best outcome, they've been going to map 5s versus pretty decent teams. They've been doing a lot better. And I think actually there might have been some kind of issue with that, but I'm not sure. This is all speculation. Because Ivy is like really good too. So Yakpang, despite the flack that he gets, I think is also a pretty good main tank. At least when I see, from what I see in solo queue. So that's my just speculation. So don't take it as fact.
Okay, let's defend ourselves here, Joe, or Lord Joe. We were pretty high on Yakpang before the season, right? That's probably fair to say.
Yeah, we did. We had heard through the grapevine that this guy was the real deal. I still think that he is and has promise. Is Defiant the team for him? I don't know. It could be another kind of fissure situation where he might need a fully Korean roster to reach that potential. I find it kind of interesting as a tangential point that it seems to be always the main tank that kind of has that aura about them, that we see that a lot of Korean main tanks do kind of trend towards they need to play with a fully Korean roster. It takes a very specific player to fit within a mixed roster, which maybe we can get into later on with CurryShot. But yeah, it's Yakpung has his moments where he looks good, and then he has moments where he's fire striking walls completely 180 degrees away from the opponent.
Big brain, though, actually.
Where does that
I do the same
drop
thing,
off?
and I'm the best player in my plat games right now.
Let me just say like something about mixed rosters. I feel that if people can't like look past the fact that it's a mixed roster, like on the team, they will never like succeed. Like instead of looking at the nationalities, you have to look past it and just try to build synergy, because it is challenging, but it's definitely doable. And I think our stage 4 has shown that. We have 4 nationalities on the team, and we've been pretty successful. There's no like, we sit together and eat lunch together. Like it's not like, we're separated. As I feel that maybe on other teams there might be, I guess, a rift in between.
Oh, definitely. I think
so. I think you have to always look past mixed rosters, and like I remember what one quote about Fisher about mixed rosters not working, and I don't think that's true. I think that's a bad mentality to have. You should just have to look past it and then just work really hard. And that's all it is. So
you're in good company here, because Yiska has famously penned about how mixed rosters are the future of Tier 1 competitive Overwatch, and we've talked about it extensively on the show about how we believe that is ultimately what will give us the best and most competitive games. But you said it yourself, is that it is challenging, though. You don't just like, oh, I have 4 different nationalities, therefore I'm good. You have to foster an environment to like bring out the best.
Sure. And the one thing I also want to say, it's like it has to be a two-way, in the sense that this is my opinion again. So this is going to be a very hot take. But for instance, some of the other teams have been on try to force it on, let's say, a Korean player to learn English. right? But I'm taking Korean lessons right now. I'm learning to read and write. I'm pretty good at writing now. At least I'd say so. Like Sophie is my teacher, and she's pretty damn good. But I feel like it should be reciprocated, where also the coaching staff or the Western staff should also be able to learn Korean, and that's why I feel like some of the teams don't do that, and I don't think it's the right way. I think it should be both ways.
I think that goes a long way for for a team like Charge, for instance. You have 4 nationalities. It would be kind of unfair to kind of just pin extra pressure on one side of the table instead of just giving everybody some extracurricular homework so that everybody can communicate a little bit easier in their native tongue. It probably sounds like a mixing pot, kind of all kinds of different loan words being tossed around in the Charge locker room. Everybody a little bit of Mandarin here, a little bit of Korean there. So I think it's generally just shows a lot of respect to everybody that at least you're putting the effort in to try and help bridge the gap that is communication.
And for instance, with Nero too, who is one of our Western players, you'll see him typing in Korean. He's learned. I think he understands a lot of things as well. So I definitely think we're pretty well integrated, and that's something that I think the coaching staff, obviously before I even joined the team, did really well with Jin, Taidalo, Sungwoo, and also we have there's always that one guy behind the scenes who nobody knows about.
It's like the brain.
He's really, really good. Like part of the staff. His name's Cassis. Nobody has any idea who he is, but it was funny because he joined. I think he was a team manager first, and now he's an analyst. And it's basically who I used to bounce ideas. We make a really good team, and I think he's very nobody knows who he is, but I think people should know who he is.
What do you think makes him so valuable for the Charge?
Basically, he himself, again, he has the same ideology. I didn't tell him to do this. When I first joined the team, again, like I told you, I was trying to learn Korean, and I still am. Every 1 hour before I sleep, I do a little lesson with myself, but as well. But he does the same thing. He speaks Mandarin, English, and he never studied abroad, anything. But his English is pretty good, really, really good. You wouldn't even notice. And then as well as Korean, he understands as well. So he can. I don't think he can speak, but I'm not too sure. But his language is really good. Once I also joined the team, once we started bouncing ideas off, I realized he also learns really quickly. So his game knowledge is really good now too.
Interesting.
So I think he's a really valuable asset to the team.
Also, if you think about the utility of it, right? Okay, so let's get us a Yiska analogy for this episode.
Yes.
In London, there's parts of town that are incredibly expensive per square meter, right?
No, never been to London.
So the
Already
idea
lost.
is, of course, you're on 2 dimensions. You're kind of limited, length and width of your property. Now, what these rich people have been doing in order to increase the value of their property was to just dig deep, and they have 2 stories below their property, just increasing the square amount of living space, and it doubles the cost or the value of their own property because of that, right? I see learning the language. So a player, of course, the first thing is you got to be good at the game, right? But there's other factors that gets you signed. We saw that with players having a good brand or whatever, or having a big stream or things like that. Certainly factor into your negotiation as for a contract, even for office and whatnot. Honestly, the third dimension also is being a Western player who speaks fairly fluent Korean, right? That will increase your value. Now, if you're already practicing and you're thinking, okay, that's enough for the day, but you can squeak in some vocabulary, that is probably better. So let's say this: if you are already practicing 13 hours a day of Overwatch, you're probably getting more value out of practicing 12 hours a day and doing 1 hour of Korean. And therefore being more modular and much more, insertable into whatever roster you're getting, right? Because sometimes, especially if you're one of those glue personalities that just keeps the roster together, if you're a leadership personality, if you can speak the language and also understand the culture that the other players are coming from, you become invaluable in that regard, right? So I think just looking at like solo queue improvements, whatnot, is pretty two-dimensional thinking, and players should probably think in 3 dimensions then.
I think there's even a 4th dimension to that. Like, this is a life skill that, like, if you sink enough time into it, can actually help transition you outside of esports. Like again, a great example that the league has highlighted quite well. Big Goose is out there learning Korean. He might actually have the same teacher as you.
He does.
CurryShot? Is that okay? I thought I remembered the name. Imagine if he actually gets certified, and I know that there's like a grading system in terms of like how proficient you are in a language, but that can transition into other jobs. Like that, those are actual tangible life skills. Not to say that esports doesn't provide those, but that's something that can help you transition outside of it. So this is just something that's invaluable. I think language is so very important to like just life.
Yeah, I agree completely, and that's why I put a lot of emphasis on it. Although again, I did say it was a hot take, and I think it makes sense to you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I guess to a lot of people in the industry it doesn't. So that's why
yeah.
You're in good company here, but we hear the same things. Is that it's a challenge that is immediately detrimental. And I can't remember which baseball coach it was. Yiska loves sports analogies. He thinks that they're universally applicable. And it was the team had brought on essentially a Japanese player and a new player from the Dominican Republic, and they have like 4 Americans on the team, or at least, or whatever and stuff. And talks about, what about the language barrier? And like, well, we speak baseball on this team.
Yeah.
We don't speak English or whatever, Japanese. We don't speak these languages. We speak baseball. And in this case, like, sometimes you just need to speak Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
And if that means some Korean, some English, some Chinese, Mandarin, whatever, like, I don't know. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Efficiency. All right, third one. Big, not so much a big Outlaws fans. This one's for you. Jake recently took to Twitter to kind of address why he hasn't been playing. He said, I asked the team to have Linkster step up for me for personal reasons that I'd rather not talk about right now. Roster issues are private as a rule, but in this case, I don't want people erroneously blaming my friends. FYI, I'm okay, and thank you to everyone who's reached out to offer their support. I'm reminded once again what an amazing community we have. So, poster boy Jake, still doing it. Still gets the thumbs up from all the Overwatch moms out there, which I love. Any more to read into on Jake's lack of play, Joe? I know you love stirring up drama, so.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna send it to you first.
Controversial opinions.
Yeah.
This is where you're. That's my house. I'm the chief executive officer of that company. So let me just whip something up. Again, like going back, you go back about 10, 20 episodes, like to, I think it might actually been right before the Atlanta homestand last stage. I had predicted that like Jake is probably benching himself. Like there's something going on behind the scenes that he's not able to give his all to the team and has to take a step back. Now that's kind of been soft confirmed. Houston is trying to be as transparent as they can, and I respect that. But I feel like if you're not going to say, I don't know, it's one of those weird PR things that I just don't have the proper education in. So I don't know if it's actually good to come out and say like, hey, everything's good, but I can't talk about it. Or like, even when I know that Mika actually went behind the scenes and asked them in the dugout, like, hey, what's going on? They said no comment. Like, Is it worth it to actually go out and say stuff like this? I don't know. Is it worth it to come out and say, like, have a non-informative press release? I'm not sure. Again, I hope everything's good with him, but this makes a lot of sense seeing how their roster has been, as Monty coined it, like this weird musical chairs, who's playing what when. Hopefully they can get everything in order, and hopefully Jake's okay. I don't know. It's weird.
John, does that not seem to you like Joe knows what's going on and he's just like trying to dance around that thing?
That's the thing.
I knew
I think
20
Joe's full of
episodes ago there was something. I felt it in his energy. I could tap into.
If I knew, I
come on.
probably would say, but I don't know.
Okay.
There's no way you would say it. Wait, would you actually say it?
Yeah, boy, it depends.
You
on what it
wouldn't
would
say
be,
it, Joe.
He wouldn't say it.
Don't
He
even
wouldn't
try.
say it.
Joe, you would
That's
not
just
say
terrible.
it. You won't even tell me what you had for breakfast this morning because Aunt Jemima might get mad because you
I had
used
coffee. I just
whatever
woke
the
up.
other
I've been up
maple
for 2
syrup
hours.
is.
This guy has never not just woken up. It's like he basically sleeps every 2 hours for 1 hour so he can say, I just woke up.
With
See,
Joe,
that's
if
how you
there's
know
a
he's hiding
1%
something.
risk to
That's it.
If there's a
Where's the
1%.
tinfoil hat music?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, no problem.
Sleeping with Jake.
Then maybe that's it. Me and Jake in a secret
Just
relationship.
sleeping
I don't know,
with
man.
Jake.
Have you ever seen us in the same room together? I'm just saying.
No, but I've seen you play Overwatch.
That's true.
And I don't know. Not quite the
Wait,
Jake
do you think you
spectacle.
would learn playing Overwatch in the bedroom with a pro Overwatch player?
I think
think
we're
that-
getting a little bit too PG-13. I think where there's a line that we can't cross.
I mean, I'm
Oh,
not
wait,
saying...
wrong button. This button is the one I want. We're just going to end the show. We're just done. Thanks for being here. See you guys next time. No, but not really. Wow. We're going to reel this back in here. I need to go back
No.
to Bishop, actually. I need to.
Okay.
Because I was going to ask this, and I feel like we just kind of went off on a thing about mixed rosters, and it was a great conversation. And then we went on to Jake, and I'm like, you know what, though? We never discussed this. Relieved of duties effective immediately with 3 matches left. Does there not seem like 9 million better ways to do that?
Yeah.
To do what? To word it? To handle the situation? Like, what do you
All
mean
of the above.
specifically?
Yes,
Yeah.
all of the above. When does a coach who, and we've seen, and oh man, professional sports. Oh my God, sorry, Yiska, you're gonna have to deal with this one as well. But in professional sports, if you're getting rid of a coach, you finish the season, you get rid of the coach at that point in the season. Like it was in stage 3, 2, 1, no problem. Stage 4, you're in that last 10% of the season. Even if you're pulling the coach out of the day-to-day, you're transitioning, you're turning corners, you're making changes, you're looking forward, you're interviewing other coaches. You tell the coach, hey, we're going to be replacing you next season. We're going to have you, take your hands off the wheel, be as involved as you feel comfortable, but just know that essentially at this point, your time with X team is done. You keep them on, season ends, boom, announce it, be like, we've decided to go a different direction. It's not like 3 other games is going to make any change. And it's not like if you don't corner Bishop into doing his own thing or disconnecting him from the team, it doesn't do, and it's a professional courtesy at that
I think
point.
they should have delayed the announcement, maybe. Like, yeah, they could have removed him from the day-to-day or delayed the announcement after. But yeah, it was, and the way they worded it, straight in the middle of the season, yeah, that was a bit rough.
Right towards the end, effective immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's
Yeah,
just,
that's a pretty harsh way to put it.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I am not. I am not a conspiracy theorist. But I don't know, dude. This is kind of weird to me. I just there's no world in which any organization I've worked with, any organization I'm familiar with, and again, esports is not exactly the most professional industry that you can get into, so I'll be fair there, but there's just no world in which a coach gets lets go like that, or head coach, right? Gets let go like that with that type of wording, who isn't leaving for other reasons. And so it's either Toronto royally effed up and they need to figure that PR person out a bit, or it was something real bad. I don't want to put that on Bishop, so I'm going to just say the Toronto PR person needs to learn from this.
I suppose there's also the option that just investors were super mad at them not making planes, most definitely, and they wanted to see immediate, like, I don't know.
I hope that's the reason. Like, that would be so funny to me. That's the way that you handle the situation, is you go all the way down the food chain and you go, hey, Mr. Head Coach guy, you're gone. Everybody else can stay, but you have to leave. You're going to be the scapegoat for this.
Usually that's what happens, so.
You think?
Especially
towards the end of the season? Like,
well, no, I'm looking back at League, and usually that's what happens.
Sure. Traditionally, it does make a lot of sense, but like, I don't.
No, but I don't agree. I don't agree.
No reevaluation period. It's just gone. 3 matches left, effective immediately. The shareholders, from on high, made this call, and we had to have a scapegoat. And sorry, Bishop, you're gone. Like,
I hope. It's like, again, we don't know the details of it either. So obviously this is all like speculation.
Purely speculation.
I'm sure in everything always gets. I'm sure in the future, like, we'll know more about it, but. Yeah,
there's just no world in which that type of movement happens that
it was completely amicable and everybody was.
Don't keep them to the end of the season or get to them far before.
Yeah.
Or be like, Bishop, start shopping now. Like, we're going to start moving that. And this isn't something that happened early stage 3 at the latest kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, I'm not convinced that that's how you write a press release for somebody who's just like, you know what, Bishop, we're just going to go another direction and we don't want to pay you an extra 4 weeks. And I have no idea how those contracts work. So I don't know if like there's something different about finishing the season versus not, or a certain amount of time. But like the only saving grace for that press release is that there's a financial reason why they did it on that day. And in that case, then whoever wrote up the contract should be fired. Like, I don't know.
Or the saving grace for that press release is that actually something terrible happened, right?
Yeah. It was also on his birthday, and that really sucks.
Oh, no, that's rough. On his 30th, too.
On his 30th.
Like, you know how that must feel? You guys don't know yet.
It's esports. If your age doesn't start in 2, you're done, man.
It's
at
bad.
Least,
like
at most 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I hope everything's okay. I hope it's just an organization or a person just not fully grasping what they're typing and releasing. But at the same time, you should never write a press release like that, especially if it's something, like the general, what I think, especially like Defiant fans want it to be, is like, oh, they're just going a different direction and they want somebody else to lead that direction and they want to start right now. You don't publicly release a coach for that. You just remove the coach from any part of those decision-making processes for those last 3 games. Because it's not like, hey, we replaced them with so-and-so. Baroy and the other guys stepped up. I don't know. Okay. Enough conspiracy theory time. Curry, I want to talk about the Guangzhou charge. Is that all right?
Let's do it.
Is that okay? You familiar with this team?
I think I've seen them before. I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Pretty good. I will say this. Guangzhou definitely came in, I would say, among the Chinese teams, probably a little bit under the radar for a lot of us, right? I mean, obviously everyone was watching Shanghai for going 0-40. Spark doing some pretty, at the time, exciting stuff with the contenders teams, and in Guangzhou, I think just kind of floated past a lot. And here you guys are right now. Doesn't look like you're quite gonna. I mean, you're probably gonna make plans, but it's you're right there. I don't know how else to say it. You're right there.
Yeah.
You're in it. We did not put Guangzhou in our top 10. None of us did. In our
No,
preseason
it was
rankings.
a team that I publicly thought
But then
was
again,
gonna
they
struggle.
didn't have you, Curry. Put Curry on that
That's also
roster,
true.
dude. I'm like top 10 for sure. So to be fair, good on them. But
to be fair though, like it's not just me. It's like, for instance, Jin, the structure that he like put out is really good. Tidal and Sungwoo do a lot of like development, and Sungwoo's strategy is also really sound. So like, for instance, if we have a disagreement, we'll talk about it, and it's just like it's a pretty good structure that we have right now. So I don't want to take all the credit or anything like that, because everyone on this team works really hard. And that's why I made a tweet that like every player is also like MVP, because they're all like really good. And also another thing, like sorry to go on a tangent, but the B team basically is what I guess it was called on public. People don't realize like how much talent we have on that team, and how like development of players is basically one of the biggest objectives of our team. And like people like Bishu Fraggy, Rise, which by the way, not a lot of people know about Rise, but he's one of the best flex supports right now, who has one of the highest potentials in my opinion.
Yep.
Like
we were really high on Rise.
One
Yeah.
JLE.
Yeah, 1J, yeah. And I was like, he's one of the ones I enjoy working with the most, only because I see it, like, when you see that diamond in the rough, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he can be like one of the best. But yeah, like we have a lot of talent on again the B team as well. So that's why, like, when people are like, "Oh my God, you put like Guangzhou put the entire B team in to beat Boston. Wow, Boston is so bad." Well, what about the B team being also really good?
Sometimes
right?
B teams are good, dude. Like, yeah, totally.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just we have a lot of experience.
But also
players
Boston's
on that
pretty
roster.
bad. let's be real. You don't have to say it, Curry, but Boston's pretty bad right now. They're not having the best time in Overwatch, at least.
Yeah, maybe they're not having the best time, but yeah, I definitely think that our players are pretty sound, and they have their head in the right place.
Yeah, for Rise, I always thought he was going to be someone that other teams are going to look at during the midseason as a signing, especially if you don't like. He is the best Zen currently not playing, I think.
I mean, his Ana is really good too, though.
Yeah, either him or your aim god, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, okay, yeah, I've got as well. Yes.
He's like really,
of course.
Mm-hmm.
That is a projection from the preseason, right? We don't know
100%.
how players hold up while they're not being played, and that very much depends on the organization. But it's rough that he had to land, and he only trained 18 during the season, right?
Thanks.
And that he had to be on the organization where Shu, one of the best new flex supports, came in, is pretty rough. Yeah,
it definitely is. Shu's. See, the thing with Shu is like very, very talented as well, So it's But I really like working with I guess Rise too, because like I always like, so I'm upstairs actually. I'm not downstairs with everyone. I'm actually upstairs, and I always like go down to see if some of the players are doing what I say, just sneaking around, and I always see him doing like I never catch him not basically working and improving and like doing stuff that like I say, like he's always working hard. So yeah, probably hopefully he doesn't watch this. I usually don't go, yeah, good shot, Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's awesome. I do have a question about Guangzhou though. So Guangzhou definitely before stage 4 has had a middling experience at least. Went 3-4 one stage, 4-3 one stage, 2-5 one stage. Definitely not the best stage. Now we're in the 2-2 meta. You guys are 5-1. Pretty poised, I would say, overall over the next 2 weeks. I'm sure you know this better than I do. You play Dallas Fuel, which
last match.
That's their last match this season. Well,
so are you 6? Yeah, you're 6-1. Sorry.
Yep.
6-1 Right? No, 5-1.
5-1.
5-1. There's so many matches. You're 5-1 with one match left.
That's so much level.
No, he was predicting. It was a Freudian slip.
Shut up. We're looking for new co-hosts on the podcast.
I was trying to cover for you.
Send your applications in.
Quick must.
Or a new main host for the podcast, apparently. So you play Dallas Fuel next. It's going to be your best stage, win or lose here. What has made the 2-2-2 meta, or whatever else? Maybe it's not the 2-2-2 meta change. Maybe it's something else that has allowed Guangzhou to kind of turn the corner and turn into this team that is, quite frankly, pretty terrifying for just about anybody playing Overwatch right now.
Well, I definitely think it's a meta that's better for us right now. I joined at the start of stage 4, so I can't really talk about the previous stages as I don't really have any inside information about it. Mm-hmm. But from what I saw from an outside, it definitely wasn't the meta. But like right now, for us, but like right now it is 2-2-2. For the players is with being happy, being able to come out. Eileen also like better, players in 2-2-2 as well. Like I think it's a really good meta for us. But as well as having so I guess one of the things Jin, the head coach, told me when I joined the team too is that I have a very different perspective of the game, and I think that's why he likes me, is because I guess there's no blind spot now as well, and I think that the players are working really well together, and that it's just our meta.
Okay, let's try to specify this a little bit, because,
sure.
For instance, Mineral, the former coach of Florida Mayhem, made this analysis video. Like I think it was either week 1 or week 2 of stage 4, where you guys played Zarya against, basically to deny the Roadhog Orisa Halt combo, right? And your Zarya was pretty much on bubble duty for that. Was that your brainchild? Like, did that come from you?
I can't say anything about that, but okay. I think when it comes to pick decisions, I think also I think Hotba should always he's
okay.
Yeah, he's also a really big brain.
That's interesting, because sometimes I've never heard that said of Hotba before during the fusion times, right?
Yeah, the thing with Hotba is so people don't really know much about him. They just have, I guess, one side of the story. Mm-hmm. But he's definitely a smart player, really good, confident, I will say. But he's really smart. Like a lot of the players, I guess, their entire personalities and traits aren't properly showcased, I don't think. And that's not the team's fault. I'm just saying, I guess it's just something that's hard to get out.
Yeah, my point was rather to point out that there are these sleeper players that have so much more impact than just on the server, right? Mm-hmm. So, for instance, one guy that I heard from the Valiant coaching stuff, and you can talk about this too, is that the Valiant think that Fact or Fiction is one of those players.
Yeah,
who's very smart and can give input to strategy as well. The Then, for instance, on Vancouver, it's Twilight, who's a mega brain about Overwatch in general, right? So there are these sleeper pick players that we sadly don't get to hear about unless a coach tells us, right?
Yeah. With fact, he was also very receptive to coaching. So when it came to stuff that I was talking about, either pathing, routing, anything like that, he has a really good understanding about that in game, and I think that's why a lot of people, I guess, don't really see it because it's something that you'd have to hear and be there for.
Mm-hmm.
But he has good direction in game, and that was one of his stronger traits was the direction that he gives the team, especially in let's say tense situations where people are like, "Oh crap, we don't want to make a mistake. We don't want to make a mistake," right? Where he'll just lead them in the right direction, know exactly like what to do. If we talked about in Waterloo, like it doesn't leave his mind. He'll immediately know what to do, and then it's like basically my philosophy is that one of the callers in the game should always be an extension of the coach himself, and with him, he was really good at that.
It sounds very similar to what I've heard about Shock and Moth, and how he's like near like savant level of kind of reiterating and regurgitating mid game about what the coaches want, what the coaches kind of maybe even throwing out predictions and helping the team by extension of the coaches, and kind of making a mental playbook on having that resource available to the players in game, on the field, whatever you want to call it. I think that's really important. So I think that just kind of supports your point.
Have you come across any other player in your coaching career that was like that you would want to highlight?
That
somebody was an extension of the coach's will.
Yeah.
That
big brain.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna have. Let me think of it. Does it have to be Overwatch?
No, I don't think so.
There was a player called Huhi in League of Legends, as well as Steelback. These are two players that I worked with who.
Steelback, interesting.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah. He was. Those two players I feel have been very, I guess, receptive again and being able to apply that in game. But in terms of here on like Charge as well, I think another person that's not talked about is Rio. He's our main tank. He has that same direction and a lot of that. But again, it's he speaks mostly Korean and stuff like that. But when I hear him talk, he also speaks English. But when I do hear him talk, he seems like he has a lot of direction as well. So I think he's one of the more underrated main tanks.
I agree.
And
I will watch.
I've watched.
It's
also because.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's also because we have so much so many like players making huge plays and stuff like that he's kind of pushed under the rug. But he is one of the, I guess, core players that have a lot to do with their success.
I've watched, and I don't know if I can credit Rio for this or your supports for this, but Rio's ability to know exactly how much health he has and how to get the F out of like sticky situations. Like you have some tanks on some teams who are like a little bit damage shy. I would say like Mono is kind of one of those who's like he probably is too quick to disengage a lot of the times. So he like you kind of lose that frontline presence. Rio is way on the other side where you're like, Rio, get out of there. Rio, get out of there. Rio, and he leaves, and then either between just his positioning themselves and the supports knowing and understanding, he's back up to full health, turns the corner. This happened on Anubis last week against NYXL on your point A defense, where I mean he was down to like 30 health or something like that. Turns the corner on point A defense, back up to full, and it's there's an argument that I would make that if it didn't at least extend the map, it could have been one of the shifting points on that whole map was Rio's ability
of course.
to hold on to his health, and that happened. It's happened 3 or 4 times just in that one series alone. So
Yeah, I definitely think that's a real thing as well. Like, not to discredit the med supports, because they're also very good, but I definitely think it's a real thing.
yeah, I'm not talented enough to know if that's just really good supporting or really good tanking, but it was amazing to watch, and it was one of the things that I looked for over and over again. You watch Rio's health go and then boom, right back up, and it's just like, how does he keep doing this? And NYXL is completely flustered by this, apparently. I had another question for you, and then I want to talk about last week's games.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
So, but it is kind of about last week's game. It is about NYXL, and I know you can't sell us the kitchen on this one, but what can you tell us about how you prepared for NYXL? You guys 4-0'd this team. And again, we've already kind of established here on the show, NYXL is not a top tier team right now in stage 4 in this 2-2-2 meta. But they're still NYXL. So what can you tell us about like how you prepared for and expected to perform against NYXL?
So I like to just first say that I did make the mistake of reading the Reddit comments after the post match, right? And the first thing I saw was all this hate for New York, and they're actually have a lot of talented players. I've had a pretty good season. They're number 2 right now, and I guess you can't judge them based off of one bad game, or not even this game, but like phase. Every team will go through its ups and downs, right? So I think it's unfair to say like, New York, you guys suck. Like, I can't believe you guys lost to these guys. Like, instead of like saying New York, you guys suck. It's more so like, why can't we say like, Guangzhou played really well? You know what I mean? Because when if the public could hear,
grabby.
Yeah. If the public could hear, the comms and like how much effort, we put into this game, it's not like we were just like, they're losing. It wasn't like that. It was literally, we put the same amount of effort into NYXL, even more, and we did
and
like
Seoul? Because it was a bit of a trap game, right? For you guys this week. That was actually a week where you had 2 pretty strong teams in Seoul and NYXL.
Oh yeah, there's right? every week has been like, except every week has been every week has been like that. Where we've had rough opponents, but I think the Seoul one. The thing with Seoul was it wasn't so much that they were so much harder or anything like that. It was more so that we were kind of making our own mistakes. And at halftime, we weren't like down or anything like that. We were like, we know we can win. That was it. We know we can win. It was just we had some unfortunate things that we did in the first 2 games that we need to fix, and that's how like we reverse swept them, right? So it wasn't like that. I definitely think that both teams were really good, but how we prepared for it, I can't get too much into it, like specifics.
Sure, I understand.
But I definitely think it was more so that we were the more prepared team, more than anything. It wasn't so much that they suck. It was just that we were more prepared, and they are a good team. They will bounce back. It's like you said, it's NYXL.
So,
that gives credence to the sandbagging argument, doesn't it? New York underprepared?
No, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. The sandbagging thing, I don't know that how many times, like, this is going to happen, I feel like, every year.
It is.
They sandbag, they just threw.
Which is only 2, by the way. But yes.
Yeah, I know. But 5 years from now, we'll have the same conversation.
Yeah, they'll still be pinned as the LW Blue Chokers, even though there's no LW players on there anymore. Like, it's beautiful narrative analysis.
Yeah,
I'd like to point out that I was the one that brought the sandbagging conversation to Overwatch by saying London was doing it.
Now we have you to blame.
Just a bag of Skittles.
Now we have you to blame. There you go.
Thanks a lot, Yiska.
Yeah, I still haven't I made a bet with Sideshow that I would carry a sandbag over I think 7 kilometers, and it's still in my basement, but in my
talked about doing it, never did it.
Yeah, still got to do it sometime.
So Curry, did you expect to 4-0 NYXL?
Probably. Okay. Like I want to say I do expect to 4-0. That's the thing to me. Like, it sounds like cocky, but I do expect to 4-0 most teams. Like, because I have a lot of confidence in my players. But I guess looking back, no. That's kind of the weird thing. Like, in the moment, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. We're gonna pop off. But like looking back, I'm like,
dude.
yeah,
I've been there, but
we
4-0 is a
actually
big thing. It's one thing to like beat a good team, right? Like, yeah, we expected to, beat NYXL. And I fully believe that you as a coach, knowing you as I do, which I mean, we're not best friends, but like what's the point in preparing if you don't think that you can win or beat or find a way to give yourself a chance to win? There's a big difference between like, yeah, we can beat them, and then walking away going 4-0 and like full holding on 2 maps, right?
3.
Anubis and Blizzard World, right?
And
Anubis, Blizzard World, Root.
Yeah, and Root.
And Root. Yeah,
Did not
and
get
Root. Sorry, I understole your full hold. And this is, and again, it's NYXL, right? You don't get to be the 2nd/3rd best team in the league by at least record by not being good.
Yeah, they're talented for sure.
So, like, I don't know, man. Like, I find I feel like there's still some contradiction between like NYXL is a good team, but I'm not surprised we 4-0'd them.
Yeah, it's. I guess that's why I said looking back, I'm like, oh wow, like, yeah. It's for me. That's just my attitude going into every game. For instance, with the Fusion University game back in Contenders, I felt that we were so prepared for that. Like, I legit told the team, like, look, we know everything that they do. The only way we lose is if we outplay ourselves. Clearly, the only way.
Do you think that the amount of preparation that you put into NYXL made the Seoul game closer than maybe it should have been?
No. We work equally as hard. Like on that. Like,
just like split it 50-50?
For instance, me, Cassis and I, like, we're usually there till like 2 a.m. every night.
Jeez. I know you sent me a message on Discord at 3:45 a.m.
Yeah, and then the coaches as well. Are so we're upstairs. The other coaches are downstairs. Basically, working really hard as well. So like, it's not just one-sided. It's like everybody's just working equally as hard every day. Like, all we want to do is win, and we know we can win the entire season. So we put as much effort into it for every match. It's not just like, like sometimes I remember back in Mayhem, basically, like sometimes I remember some of the staff told me like, oh, you have to prepare for 2 matches. So sometimes you have to decide which match to prepare more for. But I'm in my head, I'm like, well, no, we can just do both. Just all you need is a really good work ethic, and you need everybody else to also want to have the same desire to win, and that's all it takes.
Have you been on teams, or are there teams right now in Overwatch League that don't have a good work ethic, or like don't want to win? I know that's probably an unfair question, isn't it? But
I mean, that's a question that can definitely get me in trouble.
but that's immediately where my mind goes, right?
No, I mean, I do feel like from what I've heard, there are teams that need improvement.
Do they rhyme with schmooshed and schmoutlaws? No, just kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke. I am not going to trap you at all. I promise I am not. I know where the line is. Guangzhou charge PR person. Anytime you want to have someone from the show on.
Oh wait, I feel like they're messaging me, right? Oh wait, I don't have a phone.
You gotta go. You gotta get out of here. Bail.
No excuse
Bail.
there. Can't talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
But it is so, like, just general overall your feeling is are there teams that you think, and of course Guangzhou is going to be at the top of that are working harder in preparation than others, as far as like it's not as universally like unified as the amount of practice and preparation teams are putting in, or do you just think that you guys are much more efficient with that time?
So it's both. Like I told you, the structure that we have is very strong, and we are we're efficient with our time. Like for instance, with me, I'm doing stuff with A team and B team, like both. I'm getting all my work done, and yeah, we're really efficient with everything. So I definitely think it's both. Like if I'm like stuck on something, and I can literally just go downstairs at 11, 12 p.m. and then Jin's right there, our head coach is right there. Sometimes even our translator is there late. So it's not that it's not just one person, and that's also what I really like about Charge is that there's a lot of people who really want to win. It's not just one person.
I'm not gonna lie, you're making me want to buy a bunch of Charge merch right now. Like I'm investing stonks right now.
Oh, okay, nice. There we go.
So
hey, you can get a CurryShot jersey. Use code CurryShot at checkout. Easy peasy.
10%.
I'm putting a note for my right now. I'm actually gonna buy a CurryShot jersey. What's your what technically would your number be?
I feel like it would be number 1.
All right, CurryShot 1. Capital S or lowercase s in shot?
Capital S.
Capital. All right. Perfect. It doesn't matter on the jersey, I guess. Never mind. All right, CurryShot. I'm ordering a CurryShot 1 jersey right after the show. You think I'm joking? I'm not.
There we go.
Okay, last question.
Just
3. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick,
Yeah.
because they're like, while teams that are drastically improving are outspending time on practice, I don't think Valiant would probably be among them where they just brute force the improvement. They really improve the structure. I don't know if it's... Valiant struck me as a team that was very good at assessing the resources that they have, the players that they have, and then create a system around them that works. I'm not sure if they are actually practicing as much. I think they are one of the teams that run one block less than the others. Not 100% on this, like just speculating here. And they just had that improvement because they sort of adjusted to what the players required. Therefore, also I think doing more strategy stuff or one-on-one stuff or whatnot. So, but I think overall their hours would probably not be absolutely ridiculous in terms of like they are on top of the league and they still pulled off that.
Yeah. So from what I heard, I definitely think it was a structure thing, as well as so the structure. A good structure can breed a really good environment as well, where people are more open to talk to each other openly. Have a very, I guess, there's no out of game distraction. That's the thing. If you don't have a good infrastructure, basically, there are a lot of out of game distractions because of something that happens with, let's say, I've seen other coaches argue with other coaches. In front of players. Like you can't do that. Like it's terrible, right? So like I definitely think structure is a lot of the I guess formula to success. One of the best ingredients for the formula to success with these competitive teams. So no, yeah, you're definitely right about that. I think that's what's helped them improve the most.
All right, Curry. 3-parter. I've got a 3-part question here, and you have to answer them.
Okay, that's it.
I think you'll be all right. So, if you had a current power ranking for Overwatch League, who are the top 2 teams right now?
Charge and Shock.
Charge and Shock, 1 and 2. Who are the bottom 2 teams?
Never thought about the bottom 2 teams.
That's almost an answer in themselves. I love that.
I think one of the most underrated teams right now is Chengdu, but
Joe, shut up. Joe, you can't say Chengdu on this podcast in a positive light at all, or Joe just gets like this little gopher happy dance.
No, nobody expects the Chinese Inquisition. I'm just saying.
Oh no, they're really talented.
They're
Chengdu,
really good
especially
right
this
now.
meta. It's really good for them. Yeah, Chengdu's insane. But bottom 2, wow, why is it? I honestly didn't think this question would be so hard.
Should I give you 2 names and you tell me why I'm wrong?
Yes, go ahead.
Dallas, Boston.
Okay, Boston.
And again, this is right now. This is not over the overall season or anything like that. This is just in this snapshot moment at 12:40 p.m. on a
maybe
Tuesday.
Dallas, maybe. I'm not too sure. This is just not something I've talked about. In Boston, I think I can say. I think Boston, yeah. That's pretty toxic.
And you wouldn't say that. That's of course just a hypothetical if you were.
Yeah. If I were to think about it and say it, I guess.
Allegedly.
And if you had your cell phone to be told that you should.
You play Dallas. Yeah, you play Dallas next week, don't you, Curry? So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, you're already on vacation then.
That's why he's on the show. They play Dallas next week. It's just I got time on Tuesdays. Just kidding.
I think I'm pretty confident going into that game. But yeah.
I mean, you went confident into NYXL, so at this point, I feel like you'd be confident.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We
except
go
for Shock. Sounds like Shock is kind of the team maybe that you don't want to face the most.
It's not that I don't want to. We definitely want to play every team. Like, we're not scared of any team at all. Like, well.
But if you were writing your own schedule completely unabashed.
Yeah. Again, like I really don't think about it. Like I'm not even.
Yeah, you're
not
right.
saying that.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
I really don't think. Yeah, I really don't think about. Like, I really think that. Yeah, we can beat. Like, it doesn't matter which team we play. We just need to prepare for it, and we can beat them. Like, that's. Yeah, it's. I guess it's not something that I've thought about. Where I guess now that you say it, like back in the league, I think I did think about that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Now it's just not like that.
I mean, it's not super important or helpful, right? To think about it that way. You are facing them. Doesn't matter if you think you can beat them. It's your job to do your best to find the way. Like, that's just it.
Yeah, that's it. It's just you have to prepare. And you have to do everything in your power to assist your team to win. And that's, again, all that matters is winning. And yeah, it doesn't matter versus who.
I mean, it helps if your talent is now also good enough to just go toe-to-toe with most rosters, and you're not just getting your head bashed in by an alarm for no apparent reason, like in contenders, right? Like, yeah.
I mean, hey, I have 100% win rate versus Fusion.
True, yeah. You actually do.
So I don't know about that.
Because I wouldn't know. All right. I mean, so we've got to exit the game plan a little bit here for the show notes because we've been going a little long, and I know that your time is super valuable and busy. So we're not really going to talk. I do want to Chengdu Hunter versus Spark this week. What happened, bro?
They constantly, at least in that match, I felt like Chengdu showed up to a gunfight with a knife. They played this super pick-heavy composition with McCree, trying to force that a lot of the time, especially like most notably erroring on Havana with Ying Xiaolong playing really far forward, trying to do this desperate 6-man flashbang, stall the cart, push it past. They're fighting against the meta that's starting to solidify. This is just kind of how I'm viewing the team as of right now. I think they're fighting against it. It's not creative enough to catch teams off guard, but what that composition does really well is brawl. So once they can bait out the Mei wall, once they can get out of, Arisa halt hook combos, and they can actually push past those cooldowns, they brawl really well. They can actually rely on their mechanical skill really, really well and create those picks. But it's getting to that point that's struggling, or that they're finding difficulty with. And this, I think they're going to be a very stylistic team, and they always have been, to be fair. But this style of this, new goats, whatever you want to call it, metagame, it might just have been a stylistic mismatch against the Spark CurryShot. What do you think? Yay, nay? Not so sure.
Yes, I have a different take on it. I think player substitutions have a lot to do with it. Which I honestly think when Bacon Jack and Jinmu play together, they have the most success. So I think Yang Xiaolong right now, I think they should put more focus on putting Bacon Jack and Jinmu in. But at the same time, I guess what you were talking about, their picks and stuff like that, their coaching style has always been play comfort heroes.
Yeah.
That's how it seems. Where it's not so much, which is again play meta, and it's not really. I remember for maybe 3 or 4 matches in one of the stages they tried to play goat, and that was not a good. When I think it was Jikrin came in, I think that's his name.
Yeah,
and that was not the play, but I definitely think if they put Bacon Jack and Jinmu in, they're way scarier, like a team for other teams, not for us.
I mean, to your point, they 100% do play to comfort. I mean, look at their King's Row strategy. It seems to be not a fluke that we're seeing Light Young and Jiqiren come in specifically for that map, because it does favor their map or their hero pool with Zarya and Reinhardt. That's kind of like their bread and butter on that map in particular. It seems like in officials.
They definitely should not have played that there.
No,
that was a huge mistake.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, that's a good example though.
It's those are their 2 best heroes. They want to get them playtime, I suppose. Maybe that's one way you could look at it. But yeah, maybe not the best decision if you're looking at maximizing number of maps. One.
No, yeah, 100% agree.
Sorry, I'm ordering my CurryShot jersey. You thought I was joking, dude.
I did.
We're gonna make you the first 3-time guest on this show, and I'm gonna wear my CurryShot.
Have to have it in the background there for the next show.
I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna just
perfect. Yeah, do that.
Yeah. Okay. I do want to take a quick second and talk about next week's matches, because there's some big ones. One of the big ones here is London Spitfire versus Atlanta Reign. Yiska, we keep pushing this narrative on you that you are the biggest London Spitfire fan in the world, and I'm okay with that. And I don't even care. Yeah. So, but this is a big one.
I agree.
What's your thought on this match coming up, man?
I think London just Londoned in the one game where they got Londoned. So they will probably reverse London against Atlanta Reign, and then probably won't be close.
Stop. Hold on. Shu is already number 1, CurryShot. You can't be number 1. Shu's already number 1.
Wait,
what the f*** are you thinking?
Dude, you just censored the what the.
What? I understand. Not on my side.
Really?
I bleeped out what he needed.
Wait, so will it not let you order?
I mean, I can, but you can't be number 1 and Shu be number 1.
Oh, why not?
Because I'm not spending $90 on a jersey that could be. They're like, number 1, that's Shu, and they're like, no, it's CurryShot. Pick another number. It can't be 3.
Let's see.
Or 0. Oh man, I didn't know that this was the brain buster of the episode.
This is the brain buster.
Wow.
I don't know. I can't think of any other number.
All right. Well.
Anyway.
Your team just lost $90. I'm just kidding. Just tell me later. Tell me later.
Okay.
Can I order it? Can I order? Can you order
about
custom jerseys off of this website?
You can.
Be able to, right?
Yeah, you can. So with you're talking about London, right?
London,
so with Atlanta, teams like Atlanta, Washington, I don't want to discredit them because they are looking stronger. But at the same time, I feel like their schedule is also like a lot easier than some of the other teams as well. And that's why, like, I think a lot of the teams are overhyping some of the teams. Whereas, like, for instance, I think London is a stronger team. Now, I already know, though, I'm saying this now, and then next week's match, they're going to, like you say, London themselves, and then somehow lose.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I also think that, though, Urster, being able to play Urster heroes definitely helped them a lot. Guy's one of the best players in the league, I think.
Yep. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Atlanta's been on a break, to be fair.
To be fair, all these teams that are now being seemingly overrated also beat one banger team in the process, right? Admittedly, pretty early in the...
Okay, so I guess there I'd have to ask, who do you think's been overrated? Because I guess in the context of the question, are you saying Atlanta's been overrated? Because I don't think their schedule has shown that they've beaten a banger team yet. They beat Spark in Paris.
No, when we're talking about Washington, for instance.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, I think Atlanta too, but I think Washington, honestly, like Corey, he's been popping off for sure. So again, it's not like I'm trying to discredit the team, but you know, I go around social media and I see, you know, Washington #1, Guangzhou chart, you know, numbers 10 or 11, and I'm like, oh, all right, you know, it's like I don't think it's
transitive property. I think you lost to London, right? That was your loss.
Oh yeah, true. That was
got London.
True, we got London. Next time it won't happen.
Fighting words.
Yeah, it won't happen.
So what do you think, Curry? You think London takes it over ATL? Pretty convincingly, sounds like.
I think so.
Yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see. They've had, obviously, week 3, they didn't have a match because their schedule is backloaded. They come in, they play London, they play Washington before they play London, obviously, on Friday. And then they're at the KitKat home invitational for the Valiant, playing Dallas and Boston, which seemed to be, you know, a little bit easier than week 4. But yeah, I'd have to go with London just off what we've seen. Haven't seen Atlanta in a minute, like you say. Schedule has looked pretty weak, so yeah, London looking very strong. Comfort meta for them.
Is that an advantage to not have a game in week 3, or a disadvantage, do you think? Curry.
I think like the week it doesn't really matter, I guess. Now let's say you have to prepare, like let's say the opponent has 2 games, then yeah, definitely I think it can be an advantage, right? Because they have to spend that week preparing for the matches right there, and then yeah, you have like the entire week to prepare. So yeah, I think in that case, then yeah. Do you agree? Or
yeah, I agree, definitely. Like I mean, the thing is, for Atlanta, it's they do play Washington that they also probably shouldn't underrate. So they have to prepare for 2 matches as well. But yeah, I think it's weird. I think for me it does matter a little bit when you come in. I think it's a problem when you, for instance, have a week 1 bye. I think a week 5 bye between stages is pretty big. Like, for instance, like Valiant had. I think that was a help. A week 1 bye doesn't allow you to really stress test your new meta take, right?
Well, I think in this stage it could have been maybe. And this is the only stage, only because again, I can't get into specifics, but how the meta has cemented right now was not a lot of teams had no idea.
Yeah.
And then some teams did. Yeah. Some teams did. Like so, I don't know, some teams were playing comps that were like Frankenstein, straight out of Frankenstein, you know? Like it was ridiculous. Like it had made no sense. So I think it did help like it would have helped some of the lower tier teams for sure.
Yeah. It was hilarious talking to coaches. I did this Scrimbox article, and one coach said all the bad teams are currently playing Orisa Hawk May. And that sort of ended up being true, but now they're not the bad teams anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want you to know.
That's a really good example.
I just spent $105 on a CurryShot #1 jersey.
You're the first person to ever do that.
I did it. I ordered it. You got the home jersey, by the way.
Now I'm rethinking my life because I realize my parents, my family.
It's true.
No, nobody.
I even tweeted. So I tweeted it out and tagged you all on it. So,
Nice.
you're welcome. And
Thank you.
Big CurryShot fan. Let's go. Okay, we actually do have to get out of here. But we do have to talk a little bit about playoff stakes.
Mhm.
And the one thing we talked about this a little bit before the show. Joe, is there a world where Spark get knocked out of their top 6? Seoul wins against Fusion in Shanghai. Spark, who knows?
Do they need, or do we need to have Seoul beat Shanghai to have them knocked out, or is it contingent on that, or their next 3 matches? Because
I don't know, dude.
they play Fuel, Gladiators, Shanghai. It's not. It is pretty difficult for them. They're not the strongest team, in my opinion, right now. I think they're pretty mediocre, if not a little bit below average. I think Dallas is a bit of a toss-up. I think Spark should be able to squeak that one out, and then the other 2 are pretty hard. So it depends on exactly what would knock them out. I don't know.
I think 16 is pretty safe. So if they win against Dallas, I think that's probably all you need, because Seoul would need to win both of their next. One of them is also against the Spark, I suppose, but Shanghai theoretically could also get there because they have 3 matches left. I don't see it. I think 16 is fine, even though they do have a worse match record. So if actually Seoul for some reason gets there, then yeah, like Spark might, but I don't see it.
I think. You think Valiant will make play-ins?
Yes,
That's the fun one. That's the race for 12. Who do you think?
I think
You
so.
think so? Because I think if they lose one more, they're out. And they play.
No, they can lose one. Probably lose one. They can afford
to
lose.
Yeah. So they play Uprising, Shock, and Gladiators.
Ooh.
Uprising, they should win.
They can afford to lose one, really?
Yeah.
They're 11 and 14 right now.
I never did the
Okay, so just to explain also for the viewers, currently Chengdu has 2 matches left, isn't it, at 11 wins, correct?
Chengdu is at 12 and 14.
Sorry, 12 wins. Valiant is at 11 wins, but has 1 more match. But that 1 more match, in comparison, we can cut that off because it's Boston. They're likely going to win, right? So then it's 2 and 2 matches. But Chengdu also plays against Shock, which we are probably as likely to expect them to win as the Valiant are. And then the Valiant also have the better match record, especially now factoring in the win against Boston.
So it comes down to Gladiators Valiant.
Yes.
At home.
Yes.
At the
I
LA
think that's
Valiant
100%.
homestand.
Yeah.
Brought to you by KitKat.
Unless the Outlaws give it to Valiant on the silver platter and beat Chengdu as well.
It's possible.
Not
like
Chengdu I think is one of the stronger teams right now. So
yeah, but the Outlaws also know how much it hurts to not get any help from teams in the playoff runs in the last couple of weeks of the season, right? Last year, like if Seoul, I think it was, and there was another team. If they could have, if they won against Philly, the Outlaws would have been in with a better map record.
Is there a world where Atlanta loses to the Fuel and goes to 13 and 15?
That's a pretty tough ask. I don't think so. I'd have to see them week 4. It's literally been so long since we've seen, like, a whole week off can change a lot, I think. I think the Washington game is going to be pretty telling of how strong Atlanta actually is because they haven't had two terribly tough opponents.
No, it hasn't been tough at all.
Yeah.
They play
The thing is, people told me that they thought Atlanta was going to make top 6 because, like, okay, to be fair, they have at the homestand they have Dallas and Boston. Fair enough. But the week before, I guess they predicted that before knowing what Justice is, and also that London wouldn't continue that trend, right? So I don't think that's possible. I don't think they can win all 4 matches. It would very much surprise me.
Yeah, well, no, they don't win. They don't win all 4, right?
But they would need to in order to get top 6.
Top 6, yeah.
Top 6, but they're 12-12 right now.
No,
Match number's
they'll definitely
13.
make play-ins, I think. Yeah.
You think that? I mean, they for sure win 1.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Within
they
the
are
next
at
one.
plus. They are at
No,
plus
they're
8,
in.
right?
They're definitely in top 12. Top 6 is that one's a Hail Mary.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Okay. Whatever. You guys are not fun at all. Let's get out of here. I'm just kidding. You guys are fun. This is a good show. There's a lot going on. We already went way over, so we're cutting it off a little bit abruptly. The Curry, man. Always a pleasure, dude.
Yeah, always.
Always a pleasure.
It's been a while, so it's good to do this again.
I can't wait for my CurryShot jersey. I'm not even joking, dude. I tweeted you. I bought it.
I would look at it. I
bought it. If you don't retweet it, you're just.
Oh no, I'm not. I will.
I'm just kidding.
Just, I don't have a phone, so I'm gonna go get the. It's
still okay. So Curry sends me a message on Discord at 3:44 a.m. Pacific time. Says, "Hey, I'm setting my alarm. I've never set my alarm this way before. It's like on a computer or something.
Yeah.
I should be up in time for the show or something just like that. Like, I hope I am."
Yeah. Okay. So okay. I thought it was gonna be like a soothing alarm because the website was all like nice and right. And then, literally, I'm like sleeping, and I just hear like a fire alarm, like this fire alarm. What is going on? And then it's a computer was like, what? Who does that? Why is it all clouds and shit? And then like it's just like a fire alarm of an alarm. Like what?
What I don't understand is we see your 17-year-old player at the time iced out in Balenciaga head, Balenciaga coat, the shirt, the shoes. He has like a house on himself, definitely a middle-class vehicle. And you're here and like, my iPhone broke. I guess I have to beg for a new one. What's going on?
That's a coach life, dude. What do you mean?
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Not everybody's wizard young.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
Unlucky.
So what do you mean by that? No, I'm just kidding. Let's unpack that for a moment. No, I'm just kidding.
Ring, ring. I'll just make the sounds that your manager would now be calling you for that comment.
Yeah.
Ex-manager.
We're not live anymore, right?
We are live. Uh-oh. Oh, shoot. Oh, you can hear the music. Don't do this to me, Curry. I just spent $100 on your Guangzhou jersey. You have to at least make it there till the end of the season.
Yeah.
You tell me, right? You don't have to tell me right now. But if you're not going to be with Guangzhou at the end of the season, you would tell me privately right now, right? So I can cancel that order. Oh my God. Go to patreon.com/tacticalcrouch because we need it. Because I just spent $100 on a jersey. I don't know if it's going to... I'm just kidding. But yeah, let's get out of here. Before we do, shout outs for the week and where people can find you. Of course, Curry, we're going to have you go first. Shout outs, anything. Where can people find you? What Guangzhou stuff should people buy? Tell me the stuff.
Okay, so you can find me at CurryShot TV on Twitch, Twitter. I guess I don't really use Instagram, but yeah, those. That's pretty much it. But yeah, thanks to my team. players, cool people. Follow them too. They're amazing people. So yeah.
Seems like things are going all right over there. So
Yeah.
Glad you're doing well. Glad the team's doing well.
Mhm.
Joe, what about you? Shout outs for the week. Where can people find you?
Obviously you can find me on the Twitter at Volamel, Volamel. Just posted a video not too long ago, pretty short one. Tried to make it as information dense as possible about Chengdu, funnily enough, and how they play very comfort style, and how I think that's the Chinese style, and they represent that style very well, I'd say, very obviously. Contenders China final coming up, should be a good one. I won't spoil for anybody who hasn't seen quarters, but definitely not expected on the two teams that have made it. So yeah, definitely go give that a shout and support your local contenders team.
Totally not a spoiler then, right? Like,
Don't listen to
not
esports
necessarily.
podcasts if you can't handle spoilers.
Not necessarily.
Come on.
There was two matches. You don't know which one.
I'm not.
you said both teams.
Yiska, oh my God, Yiska,
Sorry.
just go. Not like go,
Yeah.
but like tell us the stuff.
Follow me on Twitter. Like, I'm doing some stuff. I think this week, if I can manage, I also want to put something out like Joe. About a topic. We'll see how that goes. And then I think before Thursday, I'm definitely working on a probability article in terms of like who can place where what, again with Eric. And then maybe I will have to profess my love for Overwatch in an article. We'll see.
I don't think anyone will believe you.
True.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I don't know. All right.
that's what my ex-girlfriend said.
Get those crickets in there a little bit. I don't know.
Nice.
Sorry, man. Can't do that. As for me, follow me everywhere at KickedTripod. Kind of cool project this week. My friend Ray C from Panda Global, Hearthstone Pro, Pokemon Pro. We're making some TFT content, Teamfight Tactics. So if you're into TFT at all, we posted our first video actually on Monday. And why are you looking like that, Joe?
No reason.
No. Say it in my face.
Just happened to look in Twitch chat. I'm not entirely too sure.
Never
just had
look
my head tilted.
At Twitch
But
chat.
continue.
Oh my
no,
God.
nothing
So
about you.
anyways, okay. I understand
I mean-
your quizzical look now.
Porn
All right.
is being promoted on Twitch. That's normal.
We got to get out of here. But go look up Zero Econ on YouTube or Zero Econ Pod on Twitter. We're gonna be doing a ton of TFT stuff, and really excited about doing that. So the first video went over really well, beyond our expectations, and we got really great feedback on how we can make it even better. So I'm really excited about that. KickedTripod everywhere else. We're gonna get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 47 in the books. See you next time. Bye.